Sean?
So, I wanted to ask you this week because I think all of our viewers would like to know about this class, what you learned at this class that you took on short sales, because that's like the big thing in the news and with the economy and with anybody who's thinking about real estate is if they own a house and they have to sell it for less than what they owe, right? That's what a short sale is. So what did you learn about at this class with these lawyers, and what can you tell us in a condensed version?
Number one, start early. Talk to your lender.
Okay.
Right away. What I mean by starting early is that if if you haven't missed a payment, but you think it's going to happen soon,
okay,
you know, give someone that knows about short sales a call. Find out what the options would be.
Who knows about short sales?
Well, agents that deal with
real estate agents
or an attorney.
Okay.
And then you can find out what some of your options might be, should you go down the road of not making your payments.
Okay. Yeah.
Then
you'd really want to talk to an attorney for sure about that. Probably to.
Right. I think where I'm coming from is more on the marketing side, because a lot of people wait too long to market their home after they've missed some payments. So, and then some people are wondering, they have just a lot of questions. So if you're having a tough time making mortgage payments, or if you got a hardship like you have to move and you know you can't sell your house for what it's worth. So those types of things where you know you're going to have problems. And most of us do that. You know, you kind of know
you get laid off or some big life event, or
things are going to happen. So start early. Don't wait. Just don't give up and quit making your payments and move out. I mean, a lot of people don't move out right away, but they just quit making their payments, and then all of a sudden things start happening.
And they don't do anything. What you're saying is don't let months go by.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So you want to make sure you know what all your options are so that you can plan ahead.
Okay.
And then it gets a little trickier is if you have more than one mortgage on the property.
Okay, so if you have a second mortgage.
Right. And a second mortgage is one name that most people know that a mortgage, there's the big one and then the little one.
Okay.
So the big one's usually the first one, the little one's usually what we call the second one.
Okay.
What some people are getting confused on, though, is they think they only have the one mortgage, but they did take a home equity line of credit that's also called a HELOC.
Okay.
And they don't realize it, but when you take that out, that is a mortgage.
Okay.
So it's recorded on your property, so it is a second mortgage. So if you think you only have the one, but you did take a home equity line of credit out,
it's kind of the same thing. It's just a different name.
Just a different name.
Okay.
So that's one thing we've found, that people thought they only had one, they really do have two.
Okay. So why does it matter if you have two, or what?
It's just more complicated.
Okay.
Because you're not paying, now you're not going to pay just one company, you're not going to be making payments to two companies. So when it comes time to try to negotiate a short sale, we have to deal with two companies instead of the one company.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more cumbersome. It's a little trickier.
Why is it trickier? Or what do I need to know about that?
Well, because usually the second mortgage wants to get some money.
Okay.
Because if you're going to go into foreclosure, they're not going to get any money. But
who's they?
The second mortgage company gets wiped out clean.
Okay,
so what happens in a foreclosure is that the first mortgage, that's why they're called first.
Okay.
Because they're in control.
They get paid first, right?
Right. So when there's a foreclosure, and they get the house back, they sell the house. They're the only ones that get any money or any out of the sale of the house. If there was any junior or second mortgage lien holders, second mortgages, or other junior, we call them junior liens.
Okay.
They don't get any money.
You're calling a second mortgage company is also called a junior lien holder.
Yeah.
You're kind of mixing terms there.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. That's interchangeable.
Okay, so lien holder is the same as mortgage company, and first mortgage or second mortgage is the same as junior. Because they're the second in line. Right. Is that what's happening? Yeah. Okay.
So they get wiped out clean at the end of the foreclosure period. The bank with the first mortgage gets the house, and nobody else gets anything.
If there's nothing left over. If there was money left over, would the second mortgage company get some?
No.
No. It's always just the first mortgage company gets the whole proceeds from the sale of the house from the foreclosure.
It used to be years ago that if a bank foreclosed, they might be able to sell the property for more than what their amount owed is, and they'd be happy.
Right.
Because they keep all the money.
Right.
But today's times, it's very seldom. Right. Most often, the bank gets the house back and sells it for much, much less than what's owed.
Yeah, they're always normally selling at a loss because of the real estate market. Okay. So you've got the first and the second. So what did you learn that is important to know about that we should know about?
Oh, it's just that on the second mortgage company always has the right to come back after you for what's owed. So if you tell them, well, you're not going to get anything because the house is going into foreclosure, they're going to say, well, yeah, we're not going to get anything. Yeah, we know that.
From the house.
From the house.
Okay.
But we can come after you for what you owe us.
And why is that?
And that's because every time you get money for a mortgage, you sign a mortgage.
For a second mortgage?
For a second or a first mortgage.
Oh, okay.
When you sign all the documents at a closing, you might not realize it, but there's two sets of documents. There's the mortgage documents, and then there's the promissory note.
Okay, what's the
promissory note?
Even though I probably signed one, probably a lot of people are like, what are you talking about?
It says, I promise to pay you back what I owe you.
Okay.
And the mortgage is just kind of security, like collateral. Like, if you don't pay on your car, they take your car.
Right.
But if you trashed your car, they're going to come after you because the car isn't working.
Personally.
They're going to come after you because you said you're...
sue you personally.
Yeah. So, right. They're going to sue you personally for a debt you owe them.
Right. And they could try to go after, if they won, they could try to go after any other assets that you have. Is that right? Like if you own a boat or if you have stock or savings or something and they won, you'd have to pay them.
So we want to make sure that if we can, the ultimate would be that if we do a short sale, which means we negotiate the sale of the house and then the people that you owe get paid less than what is owed, the ultimate would be that they would agree not to come after you for the difference. Okay. So if you owe mortgage number one $100,000, and we can only pay him $80,000.
Okay.
And then you owe.
And just to back up a second here, we were talking about foreclosure, but that would be at the end. A short sale is what we try to sell the house before it goes into foreclosure.
Before the bank gets it. So before the bank would actually take ownership of the property, we would negotiate with them to sell it to a new owner.
Okay, sorry, so go ahead.
Yeah, and then you as the old owner, you're out of the picture. The new owner has got the house, and so the ultimate is to have everybody that's involved that you owe money to say that they're not going to come back after you for any deficiency. Okay. So that's the ultimate. And we aren't always successful on that. So it's kind of a case-by-case situation. I can't do a blanket statement that everybody's going to have. Every situation is different depending on the bank, the amount owed, all that kind of thing, and the value of the house. I mean, if the value of the house is actually, sorry for that, I pounded on the table and I went like that. Okay. So the amount, if the value is really low, banks just give up. They know they're not going to get much. So there's a lot of variables that come into play on the short sale. So the ultimate, again, is to have them at the very end say they're not going to come after you for any deficiency. Okay. And again, what you want it's kind of complicated. And
but you told me there's two different terms. And so you always try to make sure that your clients get these two different terms from the bank, these two different releases.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, what is that? What are those? Because I think we can tell everybody all this stuff, and then you're the one who would actually.
Yeah. So what we get is to sell the house to another buyer, another owner. We need a release of the lien. Release of the lien. So that means the first mortgage company says we no longer have a mortgage on the property. You can go ahead and sell it. Okay. And that would be for the first, the second, the third, whoever. That's what we need to sell the house.
In order to have a closing.
Right.
Okay.
The other term, and I might be slightly wrong on this, it's called the release of the note. So you signed the promissory note. So if you can get the release of the note that or the promise to pay.
The promissory note.
The promissory note, the promise to pay them. If you can get that released, that's the best.
Right.
You need the one for sure in order to sell, but the second one you don't always get.
So the release of lien is to make the short, to sell the house short.
Right.
And the release of what did you call it?
Promissory note, the release of the obligation to pay that company.
Yeah.
So you get a statement from that says that they release you.
Right, and we're not attorneys, but this is the kind of stuff you would work out with your client. You're working out with your clients and your attorney,
and the bank and the attorneys and all that stuff. So it's that's the ultimate to get. But to be truthful, a lot of companies don't want to give that second one a chance. So you have to make a decision as a homeowner: should I do this or not? Should I go ahead with the sale because I can't get the release of the promissory note obligation? But to tell you the truth, on junior liens, second mortgages, if you let it go all the way through foreclosure, they for sure have the right to come after the deficiency, what you owe them.
Okay.
Then you don't have any choice. You didn't negotiate anything. In a short sale, at least we're trying to negotiate it, and we might not get them to release it. Okay. Now, real quick, I know it's getting a little long, but now it just brought up something else. Even if you did get a release of the liability to pay them, they have to send you a 1099.
Okay.
And that's a tax form. So now we're jumping from all the stuff about your house and how to sell a house and all that stuff to the income tax side of the
taxes.
So a while back when people in Congress started noticing there's so many people going through this process, it used to be that when you're forgiven a debt, you have to pay income tax. That's considered income, forgiveness of a debt. So you had to pay income tax on the forgiveness of a debt.
Okay.
Well, they said if it's your personal residence, you don't have to do that.
Okay.
So even though you get a 1099, if it was your personal residence, again, this is complicated. Most attorneys don't even know the real rules on this.
Right.
So it'd be a tax
advisor.
A tax advisor would have that information.
Okay.
So you have to meet a couple other rules, but it basically has to be your personal residence, something that you've lived in.
You'd have to prove that to the IRS.
Yeah, you have to prove that, and it's fairly easy to prove. And the law is there now to state that if you prove it, then you don't have to pay any taxes on that.
And right now, that law that Congress passed for that exemption on the taxes on
expires at the end of 2012. Some people thought it was the end of this year, 2011, but it's 2012.
Okay.
And whether they or not they renew it, who knows?
Right. Because they're probably not going to be done with short sales and
deficiencies
by the end of 2012.
So, for example, one of our clients sold their house and did not get the release of the promissory note at the time we sold the house. And he figured, oh, well, at least I'm selling the house and I'm getting rid of the first mortgage. And the first mortgage is fine. But so what happened is that he got a letter after the closing. And it said that we are releasing you from all obligations. Okay? Well, then for sure he's getting a 1099. Thank goodness I don't have to pay my debt back. But now they sent me the 1099, so now the question was that his primary residence? Yes, it was. He met all the IRS rules for being a primary residence and all the other qualifications, and so he doesn't have to pay any tax on that. So if you get a 1099 after you sell your house on the short sale,
it can be a good bad thing, huh?
that means they forgave the debt.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Because
Okay.
otherwise they can't send a 1099 because they didn't forgive anything
Okay.
yet.
Okay.
So forgiveness is a 1099. That's how you know you've been forgiven. And but then you want to make sure that that's a principal residence. So there's, as I said in the very beginning, it's kind of complicated. You want to make sure you check all this stuff out ahead of time so you know kind of which route you want to take.
Okay.
Which is the best way for you.
That's good info, Doug, and I think sounds like even a lot of other people, a lot of other agents or lawyers and stuff don't know this, so it's good to have, we're kind of talking about this, and then you'd really want to seek
good advice and make sure you're headed in the right direction. You bet.
Okay. Hey, thanks.
Good.